This morning, we have a brand new CNN poll which shows 60% disapproval with the president's big tax and spending law. Polling shows the public and even some of the president's most ardent supporters are angry about the Jeffrey Epstein case. So surely this means that Democrats are surging in their efforts in the midterm elections. CNN senior data analyst Harry Etten is here. And Harry, A, don't call me Shirley. B, so compare this race to the last time we saw big Democratic surge, which was what, like 2006 and 2018?
Don't worry, Leslie Nielsen. I won't call you Shirley. Look, the bottom line is this. Democrats are behind their 2006 and 2018 paces when it comes to the generic congressional ballot. What are we talking about here? All right, the Democrats versus the Republicans on the generic congressional ballot, the margins. Look at where we are now. Democrats are ahead, but by just 2 points. Look at where Democrats were already ahead by in 2017. They were behind by 7 points. How about 2005 on the generic congressional ballot? Ahead by 7 points, ahead by 7 points. And now they're only ahead by 2 points. Their lead is less than half of where it was in either 2017 or 2005 in July of those years, the year before the midterm election. Yes, Donald Trump may be unpopular, but Democrats have not come anywhere close to sealing the deal at this particular point.
Yeah, wave looks very different.
Yes.
All right, this is the generic ballot test. This is when you test people in a generic question. Of course, the House races aren't generic. There are 435 of them. What happens when you go race by race?
What happens when you go race by race? Well, it's the same idea. Okay, House seat ratings with a GOP president like back in 2005 and, of course, 2017. More net pickup seat chances. Well, last time around, look at that. Democrats were ahead by 33 seats. How about in 2005? Democrats were ahead by 7 seats. What's going on right now? It's actually Republicans. Republicans with more net pickup chances at plus 12, according to the Cook Political Report, when you add in the likelies, the leans, and the toss-up races. So it's not just on the generic ballot where Democrats are behind their 2017 and 2005 pace. It's actually when it comes seat by seat, you see that at least at this particular point, Republicans actually have more net pickup opportunities. This doesn't look anything like those wave elections back in 2006 or 2018.
If it doesn't look anything like those years, what does it look like?
Okay, so what does it look like? Well, let's take a look back at the generic congressional ballot. What was going on in Ipsos in October of 2024? Democrats were ahead by 2 points. Look at where we are now. Democrats ahead by 2 points among registered voters. At this particular point, this election cycle looks a lot more like 2024 than it does than either 2018 or 2006. And so, of course, Republicans actually held onto the House back in 2024. Will it happen this time around? We'll just have to wait and see. But for anyone who's writing the Republican House's political obituaries, hold the phone. This is a reality check. Republicans are still very much in the game.
Harriet, and that'll be quite a reality check, I think, for a lot of Democratic voters.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Kate.
Joining us right now is Democratic strategist Chuck Rocha and Republican strategist Malik Abdul. Guys, thanks for being here. Chuck, why isn't it adding up? What are Dems still not getting right?
I think Democrats are finding their footing right now after they just got through fighting this big, beautiful, whatever you call this thing. When folks start feeling that, and you're starting to see it now with inflation ticking up, real voters out there have not seen a big change, but the change is coming and they're starting to feel this. And you will see these, it's really early. Even Harry would agree that it's really early. Lots are going to happen between now and then. And with the midterm elections, this part you should write down if you're at home right now, even you, Harry. In the midterm elections, it's about motivation. Who's going to show up? Because not everybody shows up in the midterm like they do in the presidential year. So motivating people that are angry to show up is a big reason why 2018 happened. And I think you're going to see more of that as we get closer to Election Day.
Yeah, I mean, and Malik, what Democrats are banking on is what will motivate voters is their opposition to the president's tax cut and spending bill. I mean, there are these warning signs ahead in this polling that's coming out this morning, the CNN polling. 6 in 10 voters, Americans, oppose the tax and spending bill. That includes 2/3 of independents. Does that concern you in terms of, because you know, I mean, Democrats have already said this is a major part of the midterm playbook, especially when it comes to the cuts to Medicaid. How much of an uphill sales job do you have?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And what greater way to start the morning than being on with Chuck. We're always in New York together, so it's good being here. I do think that Republicans have to be concerned, obviously, about polls. Polls are a snapshot in time, so there's a lot of room for Republicans to actually run with here. But when you look at the bill itself, I think that 60% number, I went back and looked at not just the Build Back Better bill under Joe Biden, but also the Obamacare. About 60% of voters were against those programs as well. And typically, they're against the bills because there's a lot of negative attention that are attached to the bills. And so it's not surprising to me, but I do agree Republicans should in no way rest on our laurels. Historically, we're supposed to lose the House next year. But, you know, I love Harry. So I'm listening to what Harry says, and I'm actually going to use that as some talking points moving forward. But again, polls are snapshots in time, and they're subject to change.
Chuck, let's talk about the story that's not going away, and despite what the president says he would like to see, which is the fallout over the conspiracy theories around the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. We see a lot of Democrats joining in with MAGA influencers and kind of broader Republicans on Capitol Hill now calling for the Justice Department to release more on the investigation. I want to play for you how Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Dingell explained to us this morning why she is supporting this move.
These very same Republicans called it conspiracy, demanded release of files, made a promise that as soon as they were in office, they would release these files. They created expectations. They added to the conspiracy theory. And now suddenly they're saying that there's nothing there. The whole last year was all built on people hiding things and built on conspiracy theories. And you have a White House and Justice Department that are practicing what they condemned.
Still, Chuck, one can venture to guess that Dems wouldn't be pushing on this if the conspiracy theories hadn't caused this rift that we're seeing between Republicans and President Trump. I mean, are Democrats taking this too far?
Okay, let me connect what we just talked about with this topic. And I can't be crazy enough to tell you hard enough that motivation is a big part of midterm elections. Motivation, energy, folks showing up who don't normally show up. This is just one example of why Republicans and their base are really angry. You feather in not only this with this topic, but also Ukraine funding. You can even put in that they think the Superman movie is woke. They're mad about a lot of things right now and disappointed in their own party. And I think you're going to see that in the midterm elections because, again, only the most motivated folks show up here. And Democrats are smart to use this issue to drive a wedge because this is an issue that should be a layup. Democrats, let go of your pearls, jump in the middle of this and say, look, we should find out who's been molesting women, who's been out here trying to traffic women and young girls. This should be something we should be standing on top of cars shouting about and saying, we're with you, MAGA. We're with you, wanting to know everything here. Let's see all the files and the videos. Whether somebody did or not, let us find out.
Malik, what's the point, you think, when politically it becomes, I don't know, untenable for the president to say, this is boring and I'm done talking about it, move on?
Well, I think that one of the things that many people, and especially Republicans, and I understand, you know, when we get on television, you know, we have to toe the line. But I think that there is a conversation about this divide within MAGA that many within MAGA aren't comfortable talking about. I will say that there is a split in MAGA, and Chuck named a few, but if you think of the Iran strikes, there are a number of areas where MAGA has been splintered. And so I think that the important thing for Donald Trump to do is to understand that. Now, I do agree, I do get his dismissiveness because despite what people have said, Donald Trump himself never campaigned on the releasing the Epstein files. He did respond to questions about whether or not he did. But
yeah, I mean, he said
where
he would.
he goes wrong, though, But where he goes wrong, though, it is that there are people around Donald Trump, like Dan Bongino, like Kash Patel, and a number of other people who have basically developed a cult following on this issue of the Epstein files. Much like the kitchen table issues will be the issue, much like it was in this past election, the kitchen table issues will also be the issue in the midterm cycle. And I don't think that Democrats or Republicans will be able to use this in order to win anything. Most Americans generally don't care about the Epstein files, so Donald Trump is right in that regard, but he has to understand, bro, you have people around you who push this, and that's why they're spinning out of control at this point.
It's good to see you both. Thanks for coming in.